Zion. I was lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard the sound. You hear the sound. Please give me the strength to stand today. With my eyes towards the east, show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, Lord, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion. I opened up the book and see that the apple of your eye included me. And through the tribulation, I know I must stand for a new heaven, a new earth. Show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion. I feel the Spirit calling me, drawing me back home. Oh, it's happened with my family. I know it won't be long. One day you're gonna look for me, and I'll be gone home. Yeah, Israel is calling us back home to Zion. I'm on my knees. I lay down my life. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees.
All right, all the way to Zion. I'm Elder Ricard Shiar along with Elder Lawyer for our weekly Sabbath lesson. Now, I know a lot of you have been waiting for this particular broadcast based on our, what you would call the Patreon discussion and update we had here on YouTube yesterday. Okay? Yeah. Y'all see the lesson, the Edomite Agenda. Connecting Edomite, Esau, to Babylon is our lesson today. There's an agenda going on, unbeknownst to believers. Okay? We've been circumvented. Like Malcolm said, hoodwinked, ran amok, led astray. And why? Because we have no idea of the battle we as the children of Israel were born into, where Esau would control the earth and control our actions, continue with their mental slavery on our people through what? The control of religion, academia. That's right. Religion, academia, as well as what? Its political system. These are the three legs the monster, Satan, utilizes, he stands on to keep the children of Israel, God's people, confused. So today we thought we would go into the understanding of how Esau was able to infiltrate us and get in position to where they are now to accomplish, you got it, the Edomite agenda. The Edomite agenda. Okay, we have to get over this European thing and white people, black people, and call it like the Bible labels it. And today, great lesson today. All praises be to the Most High. I hope you all are having a great Sabbath. And yes, we are in preparation for the Passover next weekend. All praises be to the Most High. Now, before I go into the Edomite agenda, right? Before we're going to go into that, brothers and sisters, for the last 6 months, 7 months, really, the earth has been experiencing serious, uncharted weather patterns. Earthquakes in diverse places. Rain in places where you seldom see rain in deserts. Snow in places. It snowed in Texas in November. All right. Even during this time on the East Coast, you felt the spring wind come in last week. People had on no coats, whatever the case is, walking out with shorts on, and then it was sleet and snow. Well, brothers and sisters, let me tell you now, it's because of the weather warfare, the weather modification. And the Bible speaks of all of this, okay? This is technology of the quote-unquote pagan gods being utilized through science to throw everything off in the earth, including seasons. And I'm going to be going over that after the Passover, some of the videos that fell on me. Hey, wait till y'all see this a week after the Passover. And what I'm going to do is, because we're off next week for the academy, what I'll do is, brothers and sisters, of course, for the academy news, I'm going to introduce some of those videos in respect of what? In respect of the YouTube guidelines that must be strictly followed on YouTube now that Google has been involved in, purchasing it and all that. I have to have respect for their guidelines, and we do. But some of these things I need to show, I would have to show on the separate platforms, unfortunately. But we're definitely under weather warfare. And every time you see something weird happening, like snow in March, okay, in mid-March, understand that that weather is being channeled from some other place. And it's causing disruptions where you will hear about an earthquake or something in another area when HAARP is turned on. HAARP, HAARP. Look it up. Weather for modification, weather warfare, the treaties of weather warfare. Look it up. Okay? Now, and this is why in the book of Jubilees, it states, we must keep the time 364 days only. It doesn't matter what you may see out there. Okay? As if the Most High understood, and of course he did, that there would be under Satan and his agents, under the Edomite agenda, weather warfare to cause famines in some areas, droughts in some areas. Okay? Also to cause what? Floods in some areas, earthquakes in some areas, to starve the earth out, to bring them under an order. Satan's order. So, and this is why when the Most High gave us the time, it was perfect years ago, equal parts day, equal parts night, on all of the observations that was out there. Sinai, Greenwich, as well as the Naval Conservatory in America, equal parts night and day. Once we had that, there was no need to modify after that. Because the Most High said, keep 364 days. Don't worry about what they're doing. And we're going to read this out of the book of Jubilees so that you can understand that this would happen. And then we're going into the lesson, the Edomite Agenda. Let's go, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. The book of Jubilees, chapter 6, verse number 32. And command thou the children of Israel that they observe the years according to this reckoning, 364 days.
How many days?
364 days.
364 days. 52 Sabbaths. This was the secrets of the times that was revealed to Moses on Mount Sinai. That's right. The leader of Israel who led us out of Egypt received well more than just the 10 commandments during that 40-day and 40-night span. The Most High revealed many things, including the end to Moses. He says, listen, in the Jubilees, keep 364 days. That's 52 Sabbaths. Read, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. And these will constitute a complete year.
They would do what?
And these will constitute a complete year.
These will constitute an complete year. See, it's not just within the earth. It's talking about time in general from the heavens. How the Most High deems time, which was created from the beginning. So weather and all that has no impact on the scales of time or the wheels of time, which leads to judgment. Right? Read.
And these will constitute a complete year, and they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feast. For everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day, nor disturb any feast. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment.
That means if the children of Israel do not observe this time according to how Moses gave it to them,
then they will disturb all their seasons.
It will disturb all of their seasons. See? Now, did we not turn to the Gentiles and begin to do things according to them? Yes, we did. So because of that, the seasons within the earth began to become disturbed. See? Read.
But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment, then they will disturb all their seasons, and their years will be dislodged from this order.
And their years will be dislodged from this order. Okay? Time was made for what? For the amendment and the making of man and the judgment on those who led man astray. So that's what time was created for. It was created to make man in the Most High's image from the beginning. So now the Edomites and others are looking to dislodge that time because they know a judgment will soon fall on them. But that could not have happened if our people didn't disobey the Most High commands. We went away from the law, statutes, and commandments of the books and the records of our forefathers, the Israelites, the prophets, and began to follow the ways of the Gentiles. We were warned. As a people, the children of Israel were warned. Read.
And they will disturb the seasons, and the years will be dislodged, and they will neglect their ordinances.
And they will neglect their ordinances. Read.
And all the children of Israel will forget, and will not find the path of the years, and will forget the new months.
The new months.
And seasons.
Seasons.
And Sabbaths.
Sabbaths.
And they will go wrong as to all the order of the years.
And we would go wrong, the Israelites, according to all the orders of the years. I'm reading out of the book of Jubilees, folks. The records of Jubilees that the Most High said hide and publish the rest. And guess what, folks? When you look at this book, Oxford University has these records, folks. Oxford University. So it isn't as if those who are over academia doesn't know this. And those who are over religion, they know this. But refuse to teach it in our churches, in our what? Places of education. They refuse because they don't want us on course with the Almighty. Finish reading.
For I know from henceforth, and will declare it unto thee, and it is not of my own devising, for the book lies written before me, and on the heavenly tablets the division of days is ordained.
So on the heavenly tablets, the divisions of the days are ordained. Okay? That means, that's right, within the records in heaven, regardless of what's going on earth, time is being kept according to this order given to Moses. It doesn't matter what's going on down here. Thou shalt be done on earth as it is in heaven. Hence the reason when the Most High gave us the information, we immediately began to put it together and put it in a calendar so that others can order it and be on time, knowing that the days have been dislodged due to our fathers' disobedience to get back on course. See, this is why we put it in a calendar to ship it out and give it to people who would like to see it from year to year to year. And why? And there's no adjustment of this from year to year. Why? Because the Most High said, keep it 364 days only. Don't worry about it. Once you got 52 Sabbaths, just keep doing it that way. And eventually, we're going to meet according to what's happening in the heavenly realm by getting back on course. There's no need to every year adjust it and look at this and look at that every year. There's no need to do it. Once we had it where it was equal parts night and day on all of the records in the earth, and I believe the Most High gave it to us at the time he gave it to us. At that time, there was no need to adjust from year to year. We're going to keep it 364 just like he commanded. Read.
For there will be those who will shortly, in fact, jumping back, it says, for I know, and from henceforth I will declare it unto thee, for it is not of my own devising, for the book lies written before me on the heavenly tablets, the division of days is ordained, lest they forget the feast of the covenant and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles.
And begin to walk after the feasts of the Gentiles. Now, how are the feasts of the Gentiles reckoned? Read.
After their error. And
after their what?
After their error.
Their error. How are the Gentiles in error? Read.
And after their ignorance. For there will be those who will shortly make observations of the moon.
He says there will be some who would do what?
Will assuredly make observations of the moon.
Who would assuredly make observations of the moon. The Gentiles' era is reckoning time year by year using the moon. When the moon works in conjunction by following the sun through gates or portals. The earth doesn't revolve around the sun. All of the stars and what they would call planets like sun, moon, revolves around the earth through gates to give the earth light. See, there's a course. The sun has one course and the moon has another. So the Most High told Moses the mistake our people would make. The Gentiles would begin to observe what?
For there would be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon.
Would make observations of the moon. Read.
How it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year 10 days too soon.
Following the moon disturbs the seasons and come in 10 days too soon every year. In a nutshell, brothers and sisters, it's simply math. An annual lunar or moon cycle is 6 months, 30 days, and 6 months, 29 days. You add that together, that's 354 days, lunar cycles per year. So where's the other 10 days at? So this is why you cannot deal with the moon only. Because in the Hebrew where it says new moon, it's really saying new months according to the division of seasons each year. It's not talking about the moon in the sky when it says new moon. It's talking about a change of season in division of what? The 364 days, 52 Sabbaths given to Moses. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer. Hold up, before you finish reading, brothers and sisters, help us out. You can easily just hit that like button. We're about 1,000 now. Help us out there if you haven't already, all right? Just hit that for us. Thank you. We really appreciate that. Where you left off at, Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir. Verse 37. For this reason the years will come upon them when they will disturb the order and make an abominable day the day of testimony, and an unclean day a feast day. For they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean.
The holy with the unclean.
And the unclean day with the holy.
And the unclean day with the holy. See, this is what happens when you follow the moon only. You have people out there just looking at the moon, setting their Sabbaths after the moon by itself. Insane. Total insanity. Where the Sabbath falls on a Tuesday today, a Wednesday next, a Wednesday another time. Total insanity. Okay? Then you have under the Babylonians, they follow the moon according to their calendar structure. A time frame or time calculation Moses warned the children of Israel about. The Gentiles did this in ignorance and in error. See? Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
It says, for they will go wrong as to the months and Sabbaths and feasts and jubilees.
Come on.
For this reason, I command and testify to thee that thou mayest testify to them.
Testify to the children of Israel. Come on.
For after thy death thy children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only.
He said your children, once this generation is gone, the children will go off, the children of Israel, and not make a complete year, 364 days only. That's clear. Remember the Sabbath, keep it holy. This is how the Israelites kept time from year to year. Okay? It was quite simple. A new moon is an intercalary day which separates seasons. It's really quite that simple. Okay, 30, 30, 31. The 31st day is what? Of the third month? A change of season. That's simple. 30, 30, 31. That extra day in the middle, change of season. 30, 30, 31. That one is a change of season. 30, 30, 31. Springtime. It doesn't matter what they say. This is how time is kept in the heavenly realm where there is no what? Like seasons. Everything is out of course, and thou shalt be done on earth as it is in heaven. We are to keep this 364 day regardless of what the Gentiles do with their weather patterns and their weather modification machines. See? Because when Christ returned, guess what? There will be no more sea, and the sun, he will be the sun, and we will have light continually with no night. That weather is coming here. And I'm talking about good season, 364 days every year for 1,000 years. And you know what? I'm perplexed at how so many people are looking into to calculations of time now. and did nothing when the Gentiles were bringing forth all of that evil, their Babylonian calendars, when the Jewish and Judaism was bringing forth under their so-called Torah beliefs and Talmud beliefs, calendars and time, which our people actually followed without challenging anything that they were teaching. I need y'all to examine that. When the enemy does it, there's no scrutiny about it. The only ones who brought a light to this and scrutiny against what they were doing, the synagogue of Satan, when it came to time, was this church. Because what? At one time, we were deceived under their timekeeping until the Most High revealed the truth. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
For this reason I command and testify to thee, that thou mayest testify to them. For after thy death thy children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only.
They will not make the year, that's the era, 364 days only. If someone comes and try to pull up something and say, well, it's 365.73 based on the weather and all that, know that they are what? Deceived. The reason why the Gentiles have to do all this miscalculation, leap year, change things around, you know why? Because they didn't keep the Sabbaths. That's why. And things have become dislodged. That's why. Read.
And for this reason they will go wrong as to the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths and festivals, and they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh.
Crystal clear that it was showed to Moses, brothers and sisters, the error that comes from not keeping a calendar year, 364 days, 52 Sabbaths. That's it. He says that's an error in ignorance of the Gentiles. You do it this way, and guess what? Things will fall into place. They were dislodged. And now by us keeping it like the Most High commanded, he's going to bring everything back in order now that the children of Israel have begun to fall in order. According to what? His reckoning. Got that? I really appreciate you all for hitting the like button real quick. We just had to do that in Jubilees. And I'm going to have AC clip this. And it's going to be called Calculate Time According to God. Calculate time according to God's law. Right? So we're going to make this a section by itself to be uploaded. Don't worry about it. Let's now go in, Elder Lawyer. The Edomite Agenda. Linking Esau directly to what? Babylon. The Babylon ideology that's taught in our colleges, that's right, and their religious institutes that are set up, all of it. Their true agenda that was hiding the whole time right up under us will be revealed today. That's right, we're going to talk about that, all right? Real quick. Now, before I do that, I'm going to allow you all to file in, right? Help us out. File on in, right? 1 second. I need you all to file in, hit the like button, and we'll be right back with the lesson. Right back. 1 second. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that he used to create the heavens and the earth was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
All right. That's right. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you are invited. And yes, tomorrow we'll be going into week 6 of the Hebrew and Bible Academy. Yes, the love-hate relationship between man and woman. Boy, yeah, it's going to be a serious study on each of our natures, the man nature and the woman's nature. Okay, Satan have turned us one against each other, so that we learn to hate what the Most High made naturally. Men and women were made differently. Okay, they were made entirely different. Okay, and so a man that's looking for, a woman that's operating in that spirit of a man, you're going to do what? You're going to butt heads. So eventually, we must all submit according to the orders of God to see each other as the Most High intended. Okay? Because the world has gender bended, confused everything to a point to cause a melting pot of confusion so that we can fight one another, which is another Edomite agenda. And we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. Now, let's go straight into it. The Edomite agenda. Now, we've done many days where we get into Genesis 25 to identify who? You got it. Who is Edom? We covered that lesson in the academy as well as on our Sabbath broadcast, right? Jumping into who's Esau and what is their true agenda on earth. Where were they during the time of Christ? What were they doing? And how does that translate to the world we see today? The confusing world called Babylon. We're going to go into that right now, right? And let's go to the book of Obadiah first, Elder Lawyer. The book of Obadiah, the Edomite agenda. The book of Obadiah.
Yes, sir. Obadiah, verse 1. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord God, concerning Edom.
Concerning who?
Concerning Edom.
Concerning Esau. Edom. Who's Edom? Genesis 25 states that the first came out red all over, and they called his name Esau. Okay? Red, not white. Red. All over from head to toe. Well, the prophet Obadiah received what? A vision concerning Edom's future. Right? Read.
Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle.
We've heard a rumor. Wars and rumors of wars from the Lord, where there would be an ambassador in the earth that the Most High would have to eventually rise up against her in battle. The war of all wars that will culminate before the coming of our Lord and Savior. Some in the past thought that this ambassador was the Egyptian ambassador, Gumnanassar. Right? Some people we've been taught in the Western world through the American right-wing Christianity that ambassador is Russia. But no, the Russians are Edom. They're Edomites. Right? This ambassador that will rise up against Edom has been written in the Hebrew records in the book of Isaiah, the 13th chapter. They are the Medes. Iran is the ambassador. Iran is the true prophetic ambassador. That's why, that's right, the whole Western world has put embargoes and sanctions to try to force Iran, because they cannot bring the New World Order as they would like, with what? With Iran opposing their New World Order agenda. That takes away from the One World Order. So in order for them to bring in a New World Order, they must break Iran. And guess what? That breaking isn't going to be easy. When they go to war with Iran, the whole earth, brothers and sisters, will fracture. Politically and otherwise. There'll be total chaos on a daily basis. And guess what? As Christ comes, as the time that was prophesied for him to come, it will get worse and worse and worse, like those birth pains we talked about in scriptures. Wars everywhere. That ambassador is Iran. It wasn't Gumnanassar. Okay? It isn't Gumnanassar. And it isn't Russia. Of course, if the Bible says the Lord have given us a rumor, an ambassador shall rise up, that ambassador would be written of in the Bible. Who's the ambassador? Elder Lawyer, let's go to Isaiah 13 real quick.
Isaiah 13, verse number 1.
Read.
The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz did see.
The burden of Babylon. Read.
Lift thee up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles.
Shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. This is a warning to Babylon. Read.
I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness.
Come on. He's talking about he's getting what? The host of angels in position to do what will lead to a prophetic war of biblical proportions. Read.
4. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together.
Gather together in the valley of Jehoshaphat. Hence the reason why China is in Africa right now. While everyone is hovering into the Middle East and Africa and to the old world. And it's speaking of their military industrial complex in particular right here. They're all, what the Most High is bringing all of their armies there to be broken. When one examine the geopolitical strategy of the Iraq War and the Arab Spring during the time of Bush going into the Obama administration, that was what? The Western world strategically, through what? Through their military, putting bases in Syria, Iran, and all of the areas. Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq to surround Iran for the final war. That's what it's really about. Even what's going on with the Ukraine and Russia right now has Iranian undertones that they're not telling you. It's all about what? Coming against a country who are in defiance of the one world order. The one country they couldn't get under their foot yet. Read.
Verse 5. In fact, verse 4. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of the nations, gather together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation.
Come on.
To destroy the whole land.
To destroy the whole land. This is a burden on Babylon. Read.
Howl ye, verse 6. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it.
So there's an objective here. Those who are not under the hedge of the Most High are judged or purged within these wars. War is really a cover. That smoke is a cover. But really within the smoke, amendment, judgment. Come on.
Verse number 10. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine.
Come on.
And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible.
He will do what with the proud?
I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease.
We're going to find out who the arrogant one is that's prophesied here. He would do what? Read it once more.
And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease.
He will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. And that's on every level. But especially the one who rules with pride in his heart. And that is the spirit that have created the fabric of what? The USA. Babylon, the daughter of Babylon. Edom is behind its construct. Edom is the modern day Nimrod. Edom is the modern day Cain. We're going to show you. Read.
And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible.
Come on.
I will make a man more precious than fine gold.
I will make a man more precious than fine gold. Read.
Even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir.
And that's talking about the rarity of a man. Why? Depopulation as well as many men falling out in warfare. See, if anything that positive that comes from all of this that's going on, we understand it was prophesied by our God first, and there's refuge for those who would believe and understand according to the God of Israel, the God who sent Christ. So that's the silver lining in this. Another silver lining. There is no gender bending or confusion concerning sexes in what? In the midst of warfare. Equality goes out the window. Okay? Because you don't see nobody, no women looking to have equality when it comes to running into a war. That's when reality comes with what? Respecting a serious defense that was born to protect you. When it comes to war, I don't see anyone fighting for equality. No, right now in the Ukraine and other areas, you got women and children trying to get to Poland. In the where what I thought you wanted equality. Equality means you want to die at the same rate too. In war. So that's another thing. This amendment is putting things in order also, because it's showing you the political agendas through Edom that they was using just to do what? Divide society and families. But they know that stuff isn't real. They know there's no true no true win with pushing equality. They know that. These are societal divisions. But all in all, when a war break out, a man becomes a man and a woman becomes a woman. Women and children go first. No, not you, dude, that has on a woman. Nah, if you have on a costume, you must fight. And that's one thing about these scriptures. They're absolute. Don't talk about equality if you're not going to be the one on the front line in war. Okay? Finish reading.
Verse 13. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger.
Come on.
And it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up, they shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land.
And at this point, everyone is going to take sides with their own who? Country, race, people. Now, what of us? These countries have already developed what? A societal love to protect their own. Who are we going to run to? Who are we going to cleave to? That's why the opportunity is now. Who you're with will be your defense in that day. Who you're with when it goes down. If you were a person that couldn't get along with other people and cause division and you're out there on your own, don't believe that's the Most High with you. That was your own ignorance and pride that has you out there like a bull straying alone without any nation protection. You can't say because of the Most High you're straying alone somewhere. That was your own pride, arrogance, and ignorance. Hence the reason, and I thank the Most High for the gathering of Christ Church. I thank the Most High for the brothers and sisters. And we're going to even show our appreciation at Passover and all that, because that's the extended family that the Most High have developed in this earth so that we can protect one another in such a day as this. It doesn't matter what country we go to, what state we go to. Guess what? There will be what? Refuge for our families. Okay? That's right. The Most High, through his work, is developing a nation. And you might think, well, okay, what are you talking about, a nation? That's right. Only 70 souls walked into Egypt, and a multitude came out as a nation. It doesn't take, the Most High don't need a lot of people. He just needs people, enough people to work together under one spirit, his spirit. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
Verse 14. And it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land.
Come on.
Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword.
Everyone that is joined unto Babylon shall be destroyed. And this is when you're going to realize that you were deceived. This is when you're going to realize the ideals that you've attached yourself to was to get you out there by yourself and do what? Die under those false ideologies that was what peddled to you by Esau. And this was shown in small doses in the beginning of what you would call the virus when it first came out. In small doses, people who didn't know how to do what? Operate with one another, who didn't understand the value of family and keeping relationships intact. Folks, they were scared as I don't know what when it all began. Because it happened all at once where no one had any opportunity to seek refuge. And when that happened, you should have seen the numbers of phone calls ringing off the hook, emails. I mean, the classes was no less than 4,000, up with 5,000 until they struck the page. If anything, that was a sign. If you were out there by yourself without any people to protect you. And this is what the Most High do. He'll give you a sign and say, well, see, right now you got through that one, but it's going to come a time where when it happens, guess what? It's never going to end. And if you were out there by yourself then, where will you be in the war? So the Most High loved us enough to give us signs to do what? To prepare and say, if this happened again, here's the plan. I know where my family is. I know who my people are who can protect me. I know how to bring things so that I can align and strengthen the family so that we can have a defense for ourselves. That's right. You strategize in times of peace. That's when you strategize. Or you will panic during time of war. And what did I see when that virus broke out? Nothing but panic amongst our people. And I was telling people, listen, this ain't nothing. Just don't fall for it. The prophecies tell us what we need to be concerned about more so. This is nothing. This is a campaign. We told you. But guess what? We would not have been able to do so in such confidence if the Most High didn't develop a foundation that was built on Christ, that we can trust on in time of trouble. A foundation. People who have worked together, who love one another, who believe in Christ, who pray together. People that you can call and you know they'll be there for you in any instance. That was developed through a work. Come on, other lawyer. Come on, brothers and sisters. Hit the like button. We're about 1,000 down again. I know y'all listening and we're up in it, but come on, help us out. Come on.
Yes, sir. Verse 16. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them.
I will stir up who?
I will stir up the Medes against them.
I will stir up the Medes against them. This is the ambassador that the book of Obadiah speaks of. It's not talking about Gumlanasa. It's not speaking about Russia. It's talking about Iran. Iran. This is why the government strategically have placed military bases, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, all of these areas surrounds Iran, understanding this prophecy. But they're not going to be able to stop it. When the Most High's word goes out, it doesn't come back void. I don't care what they strategically plan. It doesn't matter. It was said that the Most High would do this. Now, some people might ask, well, if the Gentiles, Edom, know that Iran is this prophecy, why are they poking the bear? Well, you know what? It's a catch-22. They cannot fulfill the end part of their agenda if they cannot first get the whole earth under one order. They cannot do it. One thing Nimrod had at the Tower of Babel is full cooperation of all nations. See? The Tower, Babylon. See? There was full cooperation of all nations to do what? To accomplish Satan's agenda through Nimrod. So that's the catch-22. If they sit back, they run out of time. And I'm not just talking about the people. I'm talking about the spirits they worship on high levels. If they sit back and do nothing, they run out of time. And I'm going to show you what they're trying to do. All right? Now, if they fight, Iran, the Most High must stir him up to bring forth the prophecies, the war of all wars. See? And they'd rather deal with that in an attempt to get the whole world under one order. And I'm going to show you this today. Then sit back and allow time to tick against them. Because in their mind, they believe Esau under Satan have deceived themselves into believing that there's a win against God. Finish reading that one point, Elder Lawyer.
Verse 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold.
That's the whole thing. Come on.
And as for gold, they shall not delight in it.
You're not going to be able to bribe them into the New World Order. They've tried everything. But Iran, in their minds, they believe prophetically, that's right, that they were put in place for an end time cataclysm. So there's no money. That's why they're trying to sanction Iran to squeeze them financially. But it hasn't worked. Because to them, it's not about gold or silver. It's about surviving to keep the values that made their country strong. Family. They're fighting against the Western world's immorality. They see what happens when they send their children here to America. They're not the same when they come back. They see the poison that's administered from the daughter of Babylon. And they know that if their moral fabric is destroyed, there's no country to what? To defend anyway, if the children are compromised. So they're fighting for something more than just silver or gold. You can't pay them to sell out their own children like you can here. See? You can't, that's why it's silver and gold. Listen, they say you can sanction us all you want. We've sent our children to your schools. We see what they become. We're looking at the Kim Kardashians and all these women who were what in our country? Modest before they got a taste of your wine. We look at the Iranian women who used to be clothed, respectful, honored, would marry princes. And they came to what? Babylon to become harlots. So Iran know that with military comes what? You got it, a societal takeover that destroyed the morality of a country, of the people. The cost of doing business with Babylon. So who's that ambassador? Iran. Now let's go back to the book of Obadiah, Elder Lawyer.
Obadiah, verse number 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen.
Out of all the races of people, they're the smallest. This is why, and I found this out, I didn't even know. Do you know that, Elder Lawyer, that an African, if they come over to America, that they can have their nationality on their passports as white people? Did you know that before?
No, sir.
I found that out on the show this Wednesday. That they'll even put other races of people under the label of white so that it can appear that they are the majority. They are small amongst the nations. And let me make it clear. I don't have any personal problem against any race of people. But in order to bring forth the understanding of God's prophecy, there must be an identification of all nations, especially the nation who's in control. Esau, Edom, Rome. Read.
Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised.
Come on.
The pride of thine heart have deceived thee.
See? Their pride of their heart have deceived them. Esau think he can win this thing. Now, when it says pride, it must be pride up against what? The God who's delivering this prophecy. You have deceived yourself, Esau, is what our God, the God of Israel, is saying. You have deceived yourself. You will be judged under what? The prophecies concerning you. You will be judged. Read.
The pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock.
Thou that dwell in the clefts of the rocks. First in the mountains of Mount Seir. Later in the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, Russia. Eastern Europe. Yeah, the Ukraine and all these areas, folks. That's where Esau was hid up at. And they'll make you believe that there's some humanitarian thing going on there against two Edomite forces that the world should be concerned about, not realizing under the cloud of war, they're strategically moving people in place against whom they deem is the enemy. That's what this is all about, folks. Strategically maneuvering people under the cloud of war, engineered through what? Media. The pride of their heart have deceived them. They believe they can win this thing against God and against God's people. The problem our people has here in the world, in Babylon, that we don't know that we are at what? We are between the crosshairs and we are the aim for their destruction in war. That's the issues our people have. Trusting in Babylon, believing that Babylon has our best interest, but at the same time looking at and witnessing the destruction of what? Our moral fabrics and our families. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer. Come on.
The pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock.
Thou that dwelleth in the clefts of the rocks.
Whose habitation is high.
Whose habitation is high.
That saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?
Saying, who shall bring me down to the ground? Read.
Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle.
Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. Every place Esau takes power, any area that he actually, sets his foundation on, just like an eagle, he perched from high and watch its prey. Every place he established, he brings forth the eagle as his emblem. Esau's not even hiding who he is in the earth, who they are. Russia, eagle. Rome, eagle. America, eagle. England, eagle. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. Read.
And though thou set thy nest among the stars.
Here's the agenda. Though thou set thy nest among the stars, and we're going to go back there. Their whole plan is to do what? Get all people under a new world order to help them off of this plane, knowing what's prophesied to come here. Though thou set thy nest among the stars, read.
Thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord.
I will begin to bring you down. You're trying to get out into the heavenly what? The heavenly north to fight against what? The God of all gods. The same plan as Nimrod. We know that your space technology, the technology we see today, is angel technology. But you know we're in a time where the people will not what? Volunteer. Understanding your true missions now, your true agendas against everyone. So now they're tightening the reins, Esau's doing so, to force people to build his tower. Hence the reason for war. But in order to do so, he had to break us down through time. Right? He had to break us down through what? Through academia, religion, so that we as a people could begin to compromise our traditional beliefs. How did Esau do so? I'm going to go back to Obadiah, but now it's time to show you how he did so. Right? At one point, Esau primarily was dealing with the Canaanite religion that he learned under Satan at Mount Seir. Now, eventually, brothers and sisters, there was what? A compromise, an alliance that would allow Esau to come in under the children of Israel's belief system. Now, at that time, it was an alliance that we didn't deem a threat. But eventually, Esau would work in an undercurrent to use what he learned from us to create a new religion that would eventually taint the minds of what? The future generations. What was at the core of their belief, right? Elder Lawyer, I need you to get Hyrcanus, the time of Hyrcanus, out of the Josephus.
This is Antiquities of the Jews, book number 13, verse number 275.
Come on. Okay, now y'all doing a great job, but if you haven't already, you're in right now. Please hit the like button for us so we can drive more traffic here. We're up 36. Let's see if we can get this over 4,000 a day, because there's some important information that's going to be divulged, okay? Help us out. Come on.
Hyrcanus took also Dora and Marissa, cities of Idumea, and subdued all the Idumeans.
Idumea is the Greek word for Edom or Esau. You can find Idumea in the Bible. Okay? Hyrcanus were what? They were Israelites. Okay, during the Hasmonean dynasty, who eventually did what? Subdue a part of Esau, who are today deemed Europeans. Read.
Hyrcanus took also Dora and Marissa, cities of Idumea, and subdued all the Idumeans, and permitted them to stay in that country, if they would circumcise their genitals, and make use of the laws of the Jews.
So we told them that we will convert you and allow you to stay in this country, which was amongst our people. Okay? These are the Maccabean stories that are not taught in our churches, where our people ruled. We were the Maccabees. Okay? Predominantly the tribe of Levi. But there were Judah and Benjamin that were operating during that time. And keep in mind, these were predominantly black, if you want to call them black people, brown people, like Lawyer and I. Well, our people subdued the Edomites, who are deemed European today, and said you can stay in the land only if you decide to do what? Renounce your Canaanite religion and follow the laws of Moses taught through our forefathers. This is where the Edomites in number became what we call today the people who actually worship under Judaism. The majority of the modern day historians would like us to predominantly look at the Khazarian conversion as the conversion. when really that's not the great conversion we need to really focus on. This is the conversion before Christ that we must focus on, where Edomites, with their own agenda, merged and began to follow our Torah. Come on, other lawyer.
And they were so desirous of living in the country of their forefathers that they submitted to the use of circumcision.
So as we can see here, the Edomites knew that they were from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay? They were elated that they could, not being the people, have part in what? Palestine, or living in the land of Israel. And that throws out that theory that these people are Japheth and all this other crap they putting out there concerning Esau. They knew that they were from Abraham and Isaac, the brother of Jacob. Come on.
And they were so desirous of living in the country of their forefathers that they submitted to the use of circumcision and the rest of the Jewish ways of living.
So that's when they began to follow the Torah, folks. This was well over 100 some odd years before Christ would come on the scene, where you would find the Pharisees in place. The people the Pharisees and the Sanhedrin in place with their own agendas against Christ. Right? So what did they pick up? What type of practices did these so-called Edomites have who were converted? Well, we must go into the land of Samaria and other areas to show the old-time religion that they would pick up, to actually fuse that with our beliefs that was taught, to make what today is called Judaism. And I'm going to show you that all of that, Judaism is not just a religion, folks, or belief. Okay? It goes into what? Academia as well as politics. This is what makes that religion go. It's the religion of Babylon that's linked in with the Roman Catholic Church. Okay? So now we're going to deal with the politics of it, but you have to understand, that's right, the rituals, what they would bring into the new world to create America, or the daughter of Babylon. You must understand what comes with it. At one time, that's right, they learned our Torah. They learned our law, these people. But they started mixing it with other satanic sorcery and rituals that's against the law. We taught them. Our people taught them. Elder Lawyer, now let's go real quick to 2 Kings 17. And this is why we tell you, brothers and sisters, I'm quantifying it in this lesson today. But this is why we adjure you. We beseech you, brothers and sisters, to get into that Hebrew and Bible Academy, because it makes things for you more clear when going into the Bible in our absence. In our absence, we're quantifying it, but there's a lot of history and all that we be bringing forth to verify and to substantiate what we teach, what the Most High have blessed us to teach in this church. And through actuality, and we're giving you this stuff, the academy, pennies on the dollar compared to what you would pay to go to school somewhere and get in debt for the rest of your life. It averages out to $50 a month to have your eyes clearly open when it comes to understanding what this book is and how the enemies infiltrated through their own philosophies and churches and ideologies. I can't emphasize enough. That's why we put the Hebrew and Bible Academy out there, because we understand its value. Okay? You're not going to get people who are going to have the Josephus and other records, all there for you, compiled, which would normally take how many years going to a library? Well, we did the work for you, folks. So let's go into some of the worships that they won't tell you is developed under these Gentile religions who claim to follow Torah. Right? Let's go when they in Babylon, when the Assyrians put Babylonians and others in the land instead of the children of Israel, which are the northern kingdoms who came to the Americas and all that. And what type of rituals and sacrifices they began to practice in the land. And guess what? Those who follow that religion today, Torah, and deal with the Talmud, I'm going to show you the base of what's in the religion that they're not telling you. Let's read it, Elder Lawyer.
2 Kings 17, verse 24. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cuthah, and from Avah, and from Hamath, and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel.
Placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. See? The northern kingdom was taken out when the kingdom was split between Judah and Israel. This happened in 721 BC, 700 years before Christ. And ideology was what? Getting created within the land of Israel. Read.
And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. Verse 25. And it was so at the beginning of their dwelling there, that they feared not the Lord. Therefore the Lord sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nation that thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the God of the land.
Come on.
Therefore he sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the God of the land.
Come on.
Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom ye have brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach them the manner of the God of the land.
Come on.
Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear the Lord. Howbeit, every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places, which the Samaritans had made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. And the men of Babylon made Succoth-Benoth, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Hamath made Ashima, and the Avites made Niphos and Tartak, and the Sepharvites.
These are all temples to gods to sacrifice to. Read.
And the Avites made Niphos and Tartak, and the Sepharvites burnt their children in fire to Adrammelech.
And they burned their children, what?
In fire to Adrammelech.
In fire to Adrammelech. Child sacrifice. Fused with what? The laws we taught them in 721. So now, when they're before us, speaking of the nations who have now taken from that religion that was created there, that we see today, when we talk with them, they talk Torah. They talk Torah. But when others speak to them, they talk Talmud. See? Slick. They know exactly what to say, knowing what's at the base of their religion. Satanism. Child sacrifice. See? So when we taught the Edomites and Idumea, yes, they followed the law in front of us, but they were still dealing with the undercurrents of the Canaanite religion and what we are witnessing here. Those who went in our land and began to sacrifice children as part of their rituals. Now, of course, some might ask, well, does that happen today? Yes. But we have the news who can explain things off as accidents. as accidents. When we hear about an actors or someone child dying before their time in the news. They got the news that can explain it off, but brothers and sisters, it be eyes wide shut, sacrificing to Adrimelech and other gods. Moloch, child sacrifice. All of that is at the base of their religion, where they'll peddle things to children that they know will eventually erode their IQ or kill them altogether. Listen to what we're saying, folks, because the earth right now is under a sacrifice. Don't realize that their souls are being sacrificed to these same ancient deities. Now, Elder Lloyd, let's get Amos 5. And we're going to bring this up full circle. We're going to bring it around full circle.
This is Amos 5, verse number 26.
Read.
But you've borne the tabernacle of your Moloch.
Of Moloch.
And Chayun.
And Chayun.
The images of your God.
The images of your God.
Which ye made to yourselves.
Which ye made to yourselves. Because eventually, after the fall of Babylon, our people began to follow these false religions and practices and rituals, which led to our people going into captivity. This new way of merging what? The Torah and God's law with what? Pagan ideology, which led to the fall of our people. And it's the religion the Gentiles continually till this day upholds. Read on, Elder Lawyer.
But ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch and your Chayun, your images, the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves.
The star of your God that you made unto yourselves. The star of Moloch, the six-pointed star. The star that was named the Star of David, but it isn't talking about David the king. It's Megan David under the Rothschilds. The red David. See? That was a star outright front that tells people what religion they deal with and what are the rituals attached to it. Under the occult. Child sacrifice. But what they'll do is they'll try to explain it off by using biblical stories like when Abraham took Isaac up to Mount Moriah. This is how they try to excuse it off. Well, the Most High spared Isaac. So they'll use the Bible when it's convenient, or the Torah when it's convenient, to do their sick child sacrifice. But then when we challenge the moral clauses of the Bible that they continually break, they'll now say, well, hold up. We don't see the Bible as you see it. We follow the Talmud. See? That's what they do. So they'll conveniently use the Bible when it's convenient for their satanic practices, or the Torah when it benefits them. At the same time, they are against the word. Read that last piece again, Elder Lawyer.
Amos 5, verse 26.
Yeah.
But ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch and Chayun, your images, the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves.
Which ye made to yourselves. So now they're fused. I appreciate it. Yes, please. Thank you. You want to take this? Mm-hmm. You got it all. Thank you. Now, so brothers and sisters, now they have fused the old ancient child sacrifice to Adrimelech. Star of David to Moloch, where now it's child sacrifice under Babylon. Right? Added with the Torah that we taught them during the what? During the conversion, during the Hasmonean time, during the time of the Maccabees. and made their own religion, where it would be a political structure, child sacrifice, and the plan to build the tower for Satan infused under one ideology, one religion. Right? Now, this is why Christ said this. Because by the time Christ came on the scene, these same people became what? An political powerhouse in union with the Roman Empire. Okay? Where now, instead of an established hierarchy to protect the Israelites in Judea, there would be a new setup called the Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin was really a Gentile construct patterned after old Idumea, where all nations under Satan would come against us. But now they have this new religion where they're using the Torah for their own political reasons against God's people. And these were Edomites who were over the Sanhedrin. Edomites. Now, what are their names according to history? Elder Lawyer, let's get back to the Hyrcanus real quick, because I'm just going to give you all the history and let that speak. How this new term came up. And these were the people who were placed politically over Judea before Christ was in place. And eventually it would lead to Christ's death, the destruction of the first church, and the fall of our people in Judea by the hands of Esau. Right? Read that last piece again where they was converted and what they were called after that in the Josephus, Elder Lawyer.
It says, and they were so desirous of living in the country of their forefathers that they committed or submitted to the use of circumcision and the rest of the Jewish ways of living, at which time therefore this befell them, that they were hereafter no other than Jews.
They were no other than what?
They were hereafter no other than Jews.
So this is when the Edomites gained that label. See? So now when the Roman Caesar is in place, he would put his brethren in who were converted into that religion to become what? Leaders politically over our people. All the way up from this conversion to Antipater to Herod the Greek, who became governor over Judea, who sought to kill our Christ at birth. It's nothing for them to kill children at birth. It was a part of their what? Religion. So this is what Christ said. He told us, right? He told us to beware of something. These Pharisees weren't all of our people. They weren't our people. They were political plants in place who used the Torah when it was convenient for them. And they would add their teachings of the Torah with the ancient sacrifices and rituals that came with child sacrifice, as well as wordplay, philosophy. Elder Lawyer, and this is what Christ told us. Christ warned us of them. Because what? These are what we call today politicians, folks. Politicians who use the Bible when it's convenient to garner sympathy, but has an agenda to destroy us inwardly. The Sanhedrin was a political construct. And this is what Christ said. Let's read it real quick, Elder Lawyer, in Matthew, where it says, beware of the leaven. Let's read it. You have it?
Yes, sir.
Let's read it.
St. Matthew chapter 16, verse number 6.
Read it.
Then Yeshua said unto them, Take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees.
Read it again.
Take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees.
Take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. That's what Christ told us. Now think about it, folks. I don't know how many of you out there bake, but it only takes a little bit of yeast to impact the whole loaf. And that's the difference from what? Leavened bread and unleavened bread. You can have your flour, your little sugar, a little thing of salt, but folks, you can take a little bit of leaven or yeast and put it in it, and you can have it in a thing of flour. And you will never see it working, but eventually it blows the whole thing up and makes what? Loaves of bread. So if this, what I'm talking about historically, was at the core of the Pharisees and Sadducees, what was their real plan when they came over to create Babylon? When this was the leaven in it, to have us believe that it was about morality, the traditional values of God. But when let me tell you, when the Declaration of Independence was signed in America, all of this leaven was there at the base of it. And eventually, once America comes to its end, we would understand its purpose from the beginning. Hid, claiming that they were down with our God, down with our Bible. But we have now been infected by the leaven of the Pharisees. Read that again, of the lawyer.
Then Yeshua said unto them, Take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees.
Read.
And they reasoned among themselves, saying, It is because we have taken no bread.
So they was reasoning among themselves, not realizing the depth of what Christ was dropping here. The Pharisees come with little subtle things as if they're down with the people. But it's so small, if you receive any of it, you will be affected, just like a loaf of bread is infected by yeast. See, Christ knew what was at the what? At the base of the Pharisaical beliefs and the Sadducee beliefs. Satan's agenda. So beware of people when they try to use the Bible, but when you show they're contradicting themselves through hypocrisy, how they're now leaning towards another book outside of it. Oh, well, yeah. And then when you challenge them on the precepts within the Torah, they'll say, well, really, we don't really believe the Torah like that. We follow the Torah through the Talmudic philosophies. Now you realize that they're deceivers. And this is what Christ is saying. They have the mindset that they're taught about through the Babylonian Talmud when they stand before us in Torah. The sacrifice and the rituals and the evil doings of the past is what's shaping their real ideology, a destructive religion against us, a destructive political system against us. But they'll always use the word of God so that the people who believe in God lower our defenses. But what's in their heart? Their true agenda to destroy God's people. Come on, other lawyer. Come on.
Verse 8. Which when Yeshua perceived, he said unto them, O ye of little faith, why reason you among yourselves because ye have brought no bread? Do ye not understand, neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000, and how many baskets ye took up? Neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000, and how many baskets ye took up? How is it that ye do not understand that I speak that I spake it not to you concerning bread.
He says, I'm not talking about bread right here, brethren. Read.
That you should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees.
But you should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees, because they're going to present the Torah, the prophets, the information of the Bible that they know that you'll immediately agree with. But there's something else in the undercurrent of them. They hate God. They hate Christ. They hate us. But they'll never say that out front, knowing that they need us to do what? To progress their agendas. So we have to understand what's at the fabric, what's at the bottom, what is their agenda, so that we can say, well, no, we don't want none of the leaven. We don't care if you agree with us. And one of the greatest pieces of leaven that have ever happened to our people is not trusting in God over a political system that was established to destroy them. The Sanhedrin was a political position under the Roman Empire used to infiltrate, control, and to use the children of Israel as slaves. First John, Elder Lawyer, 5 and 19. A matter of fact, let's go to 1 Corinthians 5 and 6.
First Corinthians 5, verse 6.
Read it.
Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump?
Know ye not what?
That a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump?
It only takes a little leaven to leaven the whole lump. Just a little. It destroys everything. You don't see it initially because it seems innocent. It's only a little bit. But this is what they do. They always bring in a little leaven and have us connect ourselves with it. And at the end, when the bread blows, when you see it for what it is, and this is usually when it's too late to do anything about it. We've been deceived or tricked. When it's too late, by the time we see what the true agenda was, it's too late to do anything about it anyway. See? This is what they do. When it comes to tolerance, when it comes to bullying, all of these things, initially we're being what? Being caring people who believe in God's word. We'll begin to sympathize, not realizing that they're politically tricking us and infiltrating us with these particular agendas. See? A little leaven. And we have to understand that leaven comes through what? Politics is part of their religion. Lying politics. Read that last piece again, Elder Lawyer.
Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump?
A little leaven destroys everything. Either we're going to deal with their ideology and accept it or shun it altogether. You just allow a little bit in of their philosophy and their evil, it'll destroy the whole thing. So the whole deal is we must understand and understand this clear, that according to God, there's two separate governments. And you have to choose whether or not you're going to follow the government of God or the government that's filled with leaven that will eventually destroy you and your families. And the government must be instituted off of laws contained in the book. And you have to make a choice and say, well, okay, there are laws within the government that coincides with God laws. Okay, I can agree with that. But I will not participate in any of these government's agendas, because Christ has a separate agenda. Elder Lawyer, let's go to 1 John 5 and 19. And this is why. This is why. 1 John 5 and 19.
1 John 5, verse number 19. And we know that we are of God, and the whole world lieth in wickedness.
We know that we are of God, but the whole world do what?
Lieth in wickedness.
Lieth in wickedness. When you lay the foundation of something, you're laying what? The base. And building upon it. The whole world's foundation is wicked, brothers and sisters. The whole system. All of it. Every last bit of it. So when they set what? An historical foundation to be followed, we must examine what was in it. Even till this day, Americans believe that our founding fathers, or America's founding fathers, core belief was in what? The Judeo-Christian values contained in our Bible. That's what they teach us. That these were all Christian men, Puritans, who were rejected by their own country and wanted to come over here and worship God. Folks, that was a bold-faced lie. The foundation was built in total deception. And I'm going to prove it. Read that last part again, Elder Lawyer.
1 John 5, verse 19. And we know that we are of God, and the whole world lieth in wickedness.
And the whole world lieth in wickedness. The foundation is evil, wicked. The whole thing. So they try to give us a story that initially we'll agree in, to believe that there was some moral purpose during their conquests, during their colonizations, when really the agenda was clearly stated in the book of Obadiah. See? Now those who fall victim to the 11 die believing it. And that's why Christ says, beware of what? The leaven of the Pharisees and scribes, the people who converted and gained political position over our people who are still in power. Who are still in power. Babylon the Great, Elder Lawyer. You have something?
No, sir.
Okay, let's go. Revelation 18.
Revelation 18, verse 1.
Read.
And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory.
Come on.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, is fallen.
Babylon the Great is fallen. It's fallen. Read.
And it's become the habitation of devils.
And it has become the what?
The habitation of devils.
It has become the habitation of devils. The habitation of devils. So what aren't they telling us about Babylon? Because they tend to make us believe that there were some good old Christians who came over to establish settlements to follow Jesus Christ. Right? No, that was the cover. Babylon the Great was set up along with the Western world controllers and all the other countries that they have actually destroyed or established something on. It was set up through the occult from the beginning. The leaven that leaveneth the whole lump is the occult, is their political systems, is their educational systems. It's all aligned against God himself. Read.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils.
It has become the habitation of devils.
And the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
And it became the cage of what?
Every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Unclean spirit, and the cage of every hateful and unclean bird. Everything that's against God, that are taught by the fallen, resides within the daughter of Babylon. There'll always be sin, child molestation, rape, the destruction of children. Because why? It was built on that. It was built on what? You got it, folks. Moloch sacrifice, burning children to Adrimelech. Epstein Island wasn't a one-off, folks. It's part of that religion. You hear about Epstein, Weinstein, all these other things. You hear about Woody Allen marrying a 10-year-old little Asian girl. You see Charisse Theron took 2 black boys and adopted it and turned them into 2 daughters. Under philanthropy, I just wanted to help the underprivileged. It always comes with some type of morality that we can read in the Bible. But what we're witnessing is evil. They use the Bible to lower our guard. But these people are without spirit, without any care for God. They are occultists. These are they who set up your schools, who set up your universities, and guess right, and who have set up your churches and your religious institutions with an agenda. To shake all the children of the earth from their values and traditions that would normally align them in position to protect their own. To use our children as slaves to bring forth Satan's agenda on earth. Come on.
Verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
All nations, read.
And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
And all the kings of the earth are in collusion, read.
And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Wall Street, they've all tapped into what? Their monetary system, their construct of control. They're all a part of it. The trading system. If you want to be a part of this, if you don't want to be a part of Satan's plan, we will sanction you. We'll put embargoes on you. In order for you to operate and feed your nation, you must bow to the beast. This was their plan from the beginning at what? America's infancy. But the whole time they made us believe it was about following Christ, following God. And we knew that it wasn't that. Based on what? How these people who claim to believe in Christ and God, how they treated us coming off the ships. It was all a lie. It was all a lie. What was at the fabric of Babylon, one might ask? What was at its fabric? Let me show you what was at its fabric. The Baphomet. Here's George Washington, supposed to be what? The first president of the United States? On a throne in the same posture as the Baphomet. 33-degree Mason with the ancient Canaanite religion, instilled through Freemasonry here in America. As above, so is below. An Edomite. There's more. There is more. One moment. Let's go here. Who is this guy? Who is this guy, pray tell? Huh? Thomas Paine. One of the original constructors of the Declaration of Independence. He's almost perceived as a god of Massachusetts. And he wrote a dissertation, or wrote a paper called The Age of Reasoning. Straight occultist, child sacrifice, hates the Bible. This guy. He came up with an age of reason where he can use the Bible for himself to bring forth his own political agendas. But at the same time, bring into question the belief or the validity of the Bible, or the belief in the same God of the Bible. The age of reason is the theology that most are using now from this Satanist right here, who belong not only to those who signed the Declaration of Independence, but the Hellfire Club over in Europe. Straight Satanist and occultist. He was there with a record called The Age of Reasoning. In the beginning, he would write a record that would eventually do what? Stimulate conversation in America that would have those who are called Americans question the validity of the Bible. That was the leaven that was in the beginning at the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Occultists. Occultists, brothers and sisters, more. Hellfire Club, an 18th century ritual cult for the famous and the powerful. These are they of high academia under Satan who established what we call Babylon. It had nothing to do with setting a place that would actually bring forth the morality and the righteousness contained in the Bible. More. Ben Franklin, another decorated member of the Hellfire Club. Right? Another decorated member of the Hellfire Club. Now, he had a place here, Benjamin Franklin's house, still here in Old City, Philadelphia. The chilling story behind skeletons in Benjamin Franklin's basement. The skeletons of people and children, leaning right back to the sacrifice to Adrimelech, the sacrifice to Moloch. Now, as far as his religion, y'all can look into that. I'm not trying to go into that right now, but it'll tell you what he belonged to. Benjamin Franklin wore many hats in his lifetime. Founding father, scientist, author, printer, political theorist, politician. What it says right here? Freemason, postmaster, inventor, statesman, and diplomat. But where did he get the understanding of invention from? Okay. It was the demons he worshiped. But a macabre discovery below the London townhouse that Franklin occupied during his post as ambassador to the court of St. James led to the discomforting question: was Franklin also a murderer? right? What was found? 6 of them were children. Folks, we're breaking down the Epstein Island before Epstein came, folks. It's within the fabric of the religion. And they'll put their occult masters, their Satanists, in key political positions of authority to target children. You'll find them in child protective services. You'll find them in all these other areas that will lead to eventually doing what? Being able to deal with their rituals according to the God they serve. And are we saying all does this? No. But they find themselves in a position to influence the children, which is part of their core belief of the occult. 1,200 human bodies were found in his basement in London. His basement in London. The Hellfire Club. Similar to the Bohemian Grove, where all of really the latest laws that you see that's gender bending and doing all types of stuff came from what? The occult areas of the Bohemian Grove in San Francisco, California. The real religion that controls Babylon. The base of Babylon, the lies of Babylon. Right? One other thing I wanted to show. One other thing I would like to show. I think I'll go into a little bit of this more during the news within the academy. Okay? Now, this is page 10 on the devil, Thomas Paine. He created a book that's still renowned called The Age of Reasons. Now, this is the paper, a dissertation that was put together by doctors that I'm going to go over, doctors and theologians, to examine the real purpose behind Thomas Paine's ideology that would eventually destroy the fabric of America, because it's the leaven that was woven within it. But it's one thing I want to show in particular on 2 pages here concerning Thomas Paine's Age of Reason. Now, this is kind of school stuff. I usually do this in the academy, but I'm just going to give y'all just a little bit of it now, and I'll talk about it more on the academy side of things, right? But it says here, right? It says, let me go straight to it. So I hope you all can see that, right? It says, let me blow it up just a little. 1 second. That's better. Religions, rhetoric, and reason. With the contest over Paine's memory, right? With the contest over Paine's memory yet to be decided, it is precisely the cause behind this forced forgetfulness that this study intends to remember. The anti-religion rhetoric in Paine's Age of Reason, which left the Christian Bible demythologized and altogether desacralized in the minds of many of its readers. See? This is the leaven that was in the people who created or began Babylon, the daughter of Babylon. That eventually the citizens of America would deem the Bible as a myth. Looking back from other side of the fluidity, matter of fact, it says demoralized and altogether desacralized, because at one time the Bible was, to even speak against the Bible was sacrilege. Looking back from the other side of futurity, impenetrable veil, we can more clearly see the reasons that Paine's religious views was a source of such angry and ongoing contention. For he took biblical delegitimations, delegitimization, and democratized it, digesting the more esoteric spiritual skepticism that preceded him and regurgitated in a form that proved much more digestible for the generation of skeptics and secularists that followed. These are they who would become atheists in America, brothers and sisters. It's not that he didn't believe in the Bible. He hated the moral content of it because why? He knew that his practices under Satan was aligned against the God of Israel. Listen to this clearly. Listen to this clearly. It says here, demonized by those who opposed him and deified by those who embraced him. This forgotten founding father, having belatedly received his political due, merits a similar resurrection in religious studies. Neither theologians, exegetes, nor clergymen, Thomas Paine deserves to be classed among the most influential writers in the history of biblical criticism. Criticism in the pejorative sense especially. So a lot of you don't even realize this ideology was there in the creating of what we call the USA. We see the gender bending, the sex questioning, and all the lies now that the leaven has turned this America into a full loaf of sin. Without ignoring who was at its infancy in the beginning. Esau. One other thing I want to bring out of that, I'm going to get a few more scriptures before we conclude.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 1 second, 195 here. Now, this is more so what we do in the academy, but I just thought I would just bring forth some caveats of some of the records that I'll be covering when it comes to the Christian deception. It was these same evildoers who would shape the theology or how we view the Bible today. One other thing here, Elder Lawyer, the leaven. And all the while they have us believing their philosophical view on the Bible. It's talking about the Catholics. It's talking about the apologetics. All of these people really hate God and God's people. And they try to use philosophy and academia in their education to sway us into believing that they are true believers in the Almighty. But really, these are the Edomites that carry the same ideology of Thomas Paine, who hate our people, who were happier when our people was under chattel slavery. More. One other thing, one moment. I'm going to page 195. The whole thing is good. I'll be going over some of this, especially in the academy. Right here. Right here. Chapter 7 of this record that was placed together, it was about 7 doctors who came together, and one studied what you would call, the overall true exegesis of the Bible, not this crap we see today called Christianity, where people are making a fool of themselves, claiming they're following God's word. That was Satan's plan too. The prosperity gospel and the gospel of worshiping snakes. That's what the speaking in tongues is. When they were using snakes in the Baptist church, speaking in tongues and falling out in convulsions, when that's not the speaking of tongues in the Bible. All of that comes from these occultists who began America. Let me read this real quick. Thick with ridiculed, Paine's political writings were likewise littered with scripture. Another salutary layer of the common man's common tongue. So in order to give Paine any level of credibility, he would try to use scripture, a book he don't believe in, to justify his stances against it. Now listen. Though hindsight would eventually reveal Paine's stratagem, his utilitarianism at best and hypocrisy at worst, leading up to the age of reasons, leading up to the age of reasons, leading up to the age of reason's publication, the public would have assumed that Paine supported the Bible's religious claims. See, that's what they do. They'll start off by making you believe that what? They had an honest view and was just trying to look into or to discover certain things in innocence, but have an objective to eventually have people who read the literature question the Bible itself. It says here, assume Paine supported the Bible's claims and that the Bible supported Paine's political positions in return. Common sense had to make biblical sense to the generally accepted historian James Bird has shown. And the same true of Paine's other works. Consequently, its author made sure to lace his writings with well-worn language of scripture, hitching the Bible ethos to his own. Examples abound throughout his work, showing Paine to be not only a consummate rhetorician, but a well-versed scriptorian. So he came off as if he believed and was what? For the Bible, for those who believed in it. A biblically literate as the readers, whose only biblical literacy he hoped to exploit. In fact, whether or not we trust his assertion that the first part of the Age of Reason was written without having a Bible hand, his command of the scriptures is remarkable. No doubt, the result of his Quaker upbringing. So, he was raised a Quaker, so he knew the Bible, but to a degree to deceive others into not following it. And by doing so, lead the earth, America, into what? Immorality. By now being skeptics of the only book that can highlight their true agenda at the time of penning the Declaration of Independence. Philosophers gained authority and became what? Lead theologians over the churches in America so that they can shake our people from the church to use us to build their Tower of Babel. But now it's time to come back. And that's why, go back to Revelation 18, and we're going to leave off with the book of Obadiah. Folks, there was never a time where this country was under God's values according to the book. They deceived you. They used the book knowing that we as a people would agree, being who? The people of the book. But they used philosophy and deception at its foundation. Their whole plan, just like Thomas Paine, was to deceive us within the book through their philosophy, to question our own record, the only book that could save us. That was their plan the whole time, just like Thomas Paine, leading to an age of reason, an age in which man no longer needs the book or need God. And this is why it says in the book of Obadiah, the pride of their heart have deceived them. Bringing it around full circle. Let's read it again.
Revelation chapter 18, verse number 3.
Come on.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
And they all became rich on the backs of slaves. That's right, the children of slaves who worked in their cotton fields, who built their plantations, who built their roads. All the nations got rich, and when they come over, they take turns on us like a harlot. Because the plan was to do what? To utilize God's people into perpetuity. This was their opportunity. But in order to do this, they had to teach us we were someone else, Gentiles. And they would make us believe that all religions are equal and the Bible religion is just another religion as the Gentiles. No. We are infected as a people by the leaven. Their religion is evil, wicked, deceptive, witchcraft, sorcery, astrology, child sacrifice. They could care less about people. See? That's why it says it's the hold of every unclean and hateful bird. Who would push things unclean and claim that the Bible upholds it? Oh yeah, you can eat unclean food. God said pray over it. Who would do that? The evildoers. Read.
Verse 4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people.
Now you cannot come out of her if you don't understand the leaven. See? You can't, if we are infected by the leaven, it doesn't matter your geography. You'll take the leaven any place you go if you are infected. So yes, we understand that the Bible says, flee Babylon. Folks, that never changed. That never changed. It's just that now we are in position where serpents can't come in and infiltrate and destroy it before it becomes what the Most High intended. And I can see that crystal clear. That people were fleeing with their own ideologies, their own leaven, just to latch on to a train that was moving, going to use our doctrine and what we were teaching for their own what? Their own gain, to heap out souls for themselves, to cause destruction. So it never changed, but we understood while moving and going out, that hold up, everyone that's coming out and doing things, they're not of the doctrine. They're dealing with something else. And everything that we would advise to help them along and say, listen, you got to get up under, they did to the contrary. Operating to destroy so that it could eventually fall on us as the guys who said flee. So let me make it clear. It never changed. But the way it happened, I thank the Most High for it, because we wouldn't have survived with how they're operating and how they continue to operate under the guise of being under the church. Let me make that clear. But when we make a distinction altogether, then you will see the serpents come out and show their true intent now that they can no longer utilize us. See? That's right. Churches are all over this earth because we fled. And we're going to have a place to flee when it's time. Because it's one thing that they didn't calculate, where the Most High says, I will send you out as he-goats before the flock. Before the Israelites left permanently or moved permanently and stayed anywhere, Jethro, excuse me, Joshua and Caleb, they sent spies into the land. They went out and they started operating amongst the people. They operated amongst the two women that was in the Canaanite land that became Israel. So I'm glad we were able to travel, and we will travel. We will continue to travel. But now that experience initially has taught us that we must operate as a body and as a church. Not just anyone talking about they want to get on a plane because the Bible says flee. When Satan would send in his serpents to do their own thing. We had people over there, folks, dealing with the vegan diet of the disciples. We're dealing with the moon according to the lunar moon with a Sabbath. I'm talking about people I never met. All different types of doctrine. So I'm making it clear right now, folks. That stance of fleeing Babylon never ended. But we had to do what? To protect brothers and sisters who are growing in churches of other areas. We had to make it where now it's one on one. We're through the church, and if somebody's going to go into an area, it's due to a ministry. It's under a work. Okay? Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
Verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven.
Her sins have what?
Have reached unto heaven.
Have reached unto heaven.
And God have remembered her iniquities.
And God have remembered her iniquities. He remembered how the country was created or made from its inception. There was never a plan here to serve the living God. It was to bring in a new world order. To do what? I'm going to show you. To finish what Nimrod couldn't at the Tower of Babel. Finish reading. Come on.
For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God have remembered her iniquities.
So listen. Someone says, I don't understand what the issues are with the vegan diet. There is no issue with the vegan diet. Okay? I went a long time under a vegan diet. But you cannot teach that as a doctrine. You cannot teach the vegan doctrine, the vegan diet as a doctrine in the Bible. That's wrong. Okay? And this is why Paul nipped that in the bud when you read about him saying, well, listen, there's some people that say you can't eat meat. Guess what? You can't do that. Don't get in the way of those who eat clean meat, and people that eat clean meat don't get in the way of people who are eating vegetables, because either of them are lawful under the Almighty. It's off when someone come as a vegetarian and try to say God want all of us to do this according to his doctrine. That's when it's wrong. When man gets in the way. All things are lawful, but all things aren't expedient. You are not to make your personal preference on your diet a law to claim that God commands us all to do it. That's what we mean when they was coming up. Because not only were they coming with the vegan diet, they were coming with an Essene doctrine, which was actually a plagiarized 2nd century book that had nothing to do with the original Essenes, to push what? Pagan values, using vegan as a cover. Okay?
Right, and Paul goes as far as
Thank you.
as not
Go ahead.
only
Man, we
First
got over
Timothy.
4,000. That's good. Praise the Most High. Go on.
Yes, sir. When you get an opportunity, read 1 Timothy 4, where Paul says, when you teach, or if someone is to teach to abstain from meats, that is a doctrine of devils. That's how serious the apostles were against that philosophy.
Yeah, it's a doctrine of devils. Yeah, you understand? So when people try to say that, well, eating veggies is on another level than eating meat, and try to push that because they're vegan, that's a doctrine of the devil. And really, it's rooted into what? When people push that, it's really rooted into the spirit of Cain. The Most High told Abel to bring forth a meat sacrifice because Adam and Eve, that's right, through their sin, animals had to die to cover their nakedness. So Abel brought a good sacrifice when Cain brought veggies. Now, is veggies wrong altogether? No, it isn't wrong. But when it's time to bring forth a sacrifice to the Almighty, like the Passover, it's clear according to the law what food we are to bring. So when someone try to go against meat and bring veggies, it's in the spirit of Cain. And it's not unlawful for someone to be a vegan. It's healthy. But you are not to make that into a doctrine. That's against God. That's a doctrine of devils. Thank you, other lawyer. Mm-hmm. See, that's a doctrine of devils. That's your preference. Okay, but you cannot make that. And what I'm saying is, let me tell you, folks, there was people coming in with all types of doctrines. You had people who didn't even believe in the name of the Most High talking about fleeing. And then you have them get with other people to say, well, yeah, I'm down with the elders, but bringing their doctrine as an undercurrent under it so they can heap men unto themselves to sustain them. All of that crap. And Elder Gabar called me and say, Elder Gabar called me and say, Elder Ricard, yes, we got to flee, but you got all type of people coming into our church with these different doctrines. We're going to have to tighten this up because they're using this flee thing as a cover, but they really don't believe in the church. They really don't follow us. And every place they go, they'll destroy. So we had to examine it and say, you know what? That's right. It's true. We've already established churches all over the earth. When the Israelites fled into Africa, it's because of the relationships we had that Christ developed through the disciples, where there were churches and all that in the remote areas. And there were other Israelites who fled well before that. Through Pompey and Julius, a lot of us went into Africa and set up the Ghanaian state, Mali, and different parts of Africa. So it's like, you know what? The churches are established. So if anything happens, we can now communicate with brothers and sisters all over the earth to have a place for refuge for our families. Let the Most High Church set those agreements in the earth where we can go based on the ministry that was established when we first left out. Quite simple. Now, we don't have to worry about the serpents coming in saying, God said flee. To only bring forth their own ideology. Right? Oh yeah, Passover is next week. We only got a few more here. Elder Lloyd?
Yes, sir. Verse 6.
Let's go back to the book of Obadiah now.
Yes, sir.
Man, y'all did a great job. We thank you. We're well over 4,000. All praises be to the Most High. If y'all think this was something, wait till you see the lesson tomorrow. HistoryTimes.org. That's right. The love-hate relationship between man and woman. The nature of man according to God and the nature of woman according to God. Why is it we hate one another? We were taught to. It's a curse. And I'm going to be going into that tomorrow. Ready, Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir.
HistoryTimes.org. Let's go.
Obadiah, verse number 3.
Yeah.
The pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock.
The pride of thine heart, speaking of Esau, have deceived thee, thou that dwelleth in the clefts of the rocks. First, Mount Seir. Later, the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, Russia. Read.
Whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?
Who saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Read.
Verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle.
Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. Read.
And though thou set thy nest among the stars.
Though thou what?
Though thou set thy nest among the stars. Thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord.
Thence will I bring thee down, saith the Almighty. Now, there's a few things I want to show on this. There's a few things I want to show, brothers and sisters. Though they that set their nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Now we told you that the Sanhedrin, that was dealing with all these different type of rituals, became the new people of Israel once our people no longer could stake claim to the land. It was Okay, one moment. Because we can finish it together. 1 second. All right, we can finish it together because I want to make sure I have this.
I'll wait till you.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. 1 second, we'll be right back. One second, we'll be right back, brothers and sisters. To conclude the lesson, the Edomite Agenda, the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. All right, we're about to go in. Very, very good, right? The Edomite Agenda. The Edomite Agenda. And let's pull this up real quick. Now, this is a paper from an article from over the modern day Israel, the state of Israel today, where as of May-June article of Israel My Glory, they were discussing establishing a new Sanhedrin in Israel. Now, understand this, brothers and sisters. God didn't set up a Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin came from the conversion during the time of Hyrcanus, and those, that's right, who would be in political position under the Romans, Edomites they were, to now become governors or politicians over Judea during the time of Christ, during the time of our people in Israel, before the Romans would do what? Destroy us altogether. The Sanhedrin was a political, religious component. It wasn't established by the God of Israel. So it says the new Sanhedrin. In 2004, on the shores of the Sea of Galilee, a new Sanhedrin arose after an absence of more than 1,400 years, staffed by Orthodox and ultra-Orthodox rabbis who want Israeli life to conform to the Torah and the rabbinical law. The Sanhedrin has been a great indicator that the stage is being set for the last days as foretold in Bible prophecy. There's no place in the Bible that states that a Sanhedrin will be built again before the Messiah. That's a lie. But they will establish new courts between Ishmael and Esau. The new court supports rebuilding the temple, reinstating the priesthood, resuming sacrifices, and opposes giving biblical Jewish lands to the Arabs. In Jesus' day, the 70-member Sanhedrin composed the Supreme Court of the Jewish people. That's true. But these were those who was Edomites who converted into Judaism during the time of Hyrcanus. It administrated activities of the temple and also elected an high priest. Today, the Sanhedrin is playing more and more of a role in Israeli society. See, folks, you're not being taught none of this in the churches of what's really going on politically and religiously that will have an impact on our lives anywhere in the earth. Today, the Sanhedrin is playing more and more of a role in Israeli society. In November 2006, it had an alternate summit in Jerusalem. Did you know about that? While in the Middle East Peace Summit was taking place in Indianapolis, Maryland, called the New Jewish Congress. It spoke of the any of you hear about this in our neighborhoods? Anyone? It spoke of the importance of erecting the temple of the Temple Mount, restoring the sacrificial system, and reinstituting temple worship. On and on and on, they spoke of, even up into our present time, establishing a new Sanhedrin that would do what? That would enforce a new Noahide law. But in order to do so, they would need to bring all countries under an order. Under an order. Right? But what is the real plan? What is the real plan? Here's a coin, brothers and sisters. This is what's on the back of the Donald Trump coin. The same time Donald Trump was suggesting a need to help build a temple in Israel. Now let's see what's on Donald Trump's coin. And we're going to blow this all the way up. How many of you knew this? Look at this. Here's a sword, a Middle Eastern sword. Right? As you go up the sword, you see a motherboard of a computer. Right? a motherboard of a computer, a healthcare heart, showing the healthcare heart, the healthcare system. The computer links into the satellites. The satellites link into the syringes and the baby bottles. Also, the machines, barcodes, and their farming system. Satellites, and at the end of it, rockets going out into space. Peace, and at the apex of it all, Saturn, Satan at the very top. On the back of the Donald Trump commemorative coin. Also on the coin in the back, there's Hebrew writing as well as an Arabic proverb. An Arabic proverb, folks. See it? Look at it. Look at it good with Donald Trump signature at the bottom of it. And the Arabic proverb, which is Al-Fat 61, which is from the Quran, when they would make us believe that he's down with the Christians, right here in America. And if one inclines towards peace, it inclines towards you. Al-Fat 61 from the what? The Quran. On the sword. Now you know sword is war. The motherboard leading to the healthcare system that just happened. The syringes, the baby bottles, the computer barcode system, the satellites with the machines linked with the Wi-Fi symbol to the degree where there's a rocket going out in space to Mars. That's on the back of the commemorative Trump. The commemorative Trump coin. At the same time, they were signing a peace pact over in Israel, establishing a new Sanhedrin. So what's the plan? Let's go back to the book of Obadiah and end it there.
Obadiah verse number 4.
Come on.
Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars.
When you go out in space and begin, and guess what? That's right. The new guy over the Tesla cars. Give me his.
What's this guy's name?
Come on, y'all. His name is
Musk.
Yeah, Elon Musk. Elon Musk, Satan's son. Okay? He have the technology now where they're building technology where anyone can travel out into space and go where? Don't buy into him being a humanitarian and against the New World Order. They play either side, folks. Okay? Though they did what? Come on.
Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle.
As the eagle.
And though thou set thy nest among the stars.
And this was their plan the whole time. To dislodge us away from the book, to utilize our children to help build their technology to get up from off of Earth. That's the plan. To force everyone to become a servant, to help, that's right, the powers that shouldn't be on Earth. To fulfill this prophecy. That's the plan of the Sanhedrin. That's the plan of those who founded the country. That's the leaven. But in order to do so, they had to do what? Push immorality on our children so that they can use our children as slaves who now have no protection walking immorally. I need y'all to think about this. And the only protection and hedge is to come back under God in Christ. Because they're going to deem everyone in the earth who believe in the Bible very soon as enemies. As enemies. This is why when you began to say no to certain things for the last couple of years, this is why people started asking you, well, what religion do you believe in? And when you say, well, it's religious exemption, they wanted to know, well, what church you belong to? They're keeping data, folks. Because they know whoever pushed back the last 2 years will be pushing back when they implement the mark of the beast. They know it. Like we're living in a country where there's freedom of religion, right? Why do you care what my religious beliefs are concerning whatever you're rolling out? Because they know that in prophecy that there will be God's people at the very end opposing them. That's why. Because of Christians who are under total delusion, they don't have to worry about those people defying them. It's the Christians that's pushing their madness. They don't have to worry about the Muslims defying them because they're all under Satan's order. See? For the last couple of years, that's why your job been asking you, okay, what church you belong to again? What? Because if you're under a church, you're supposed to be what? Leavened up. You are supposed to be totally convinced to do whatever the power structure tells you. But the answer is not to be anti-government. The answer is this. Elder Lawyer, let's get render under Caesar real quick. Let's get Matthew 22 and 21. It's not to be anti-government. You have to understand what government to be for in priority, according to your belief system. So it's not being anti-government. Because there's some things within the government that aligns with the laws that was given to Moses. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. All of those things where there's a penalty for, we agree with. Okay? But it's not about becoming anti-government. Never become anti-government. What you must do is take hard stances according to the God you believe in. And this is how Christ was able to operate in the world real time without being defiant when it comes to government. He made it clear when the Pharisees and scribes try to trip him up and say, well, did you pay your taxes this year? Because the Sanhedrin and our people was more so the enforcers and gatekeepers for Rome. So they wanted to put Christ in an anti-government posture so that the Roman Empire can now do what? Come against them for breaking Caesar's law. So how did Christ deal with that without being deemed anti-government? Let's read it.
Matthew 22 and 21. They say unto him, Caesar's. Then saith he unto them, Render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's.
Whose inscription is on the coin? Caesar's, right? So that's his money. He owns it. If he asks for it, give it to him. Mm-hmm. Don't get into no tax situation where you and all that. No. This is why Wesley Snipes had to pay a few years in jail. Well, according to the law, I'm a free man and you're not supposed to. No. If they ask for their money, it's their face on it. Give it to them. Give it to them. See? Read.
Render therefore unto Caesar's the things which are Caesar's.
Come on.
And unto God the things that are God's.
And unto God the things that are God's. God's people don't belong to Caesar, do they? So that's how Christ dealt with that. You can have the money, but my temple belongs to God. So that's not anti-government. That's pro-God. And that comes with any type of poison that would come from Babylon. When you have moral standards according to the book, walking in the paths of Christ and the ways of Christ according to God's law, that's the government we are at the behest of. And anything on the outside compromises that. And if you allow it to come in, the whole leaven leaveneth the whole lump. You let something in, and guess what? It starts off small, but eventually, at the end of it, you'll realize you were deceived. Let's end it now, Obadiah. Let's go.
Obadiah, verse number 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord.
When you set your nest among the stars, which is the original plan since the beginning, since Esau gained position, he was seeking to bring the whole earth under an order to go out in space, knowing prophetically what's coming here against him, against the Roman Empire. It's going to be the fall of Esau's empire and the rise of Jacob. You think these people don't understand that prophetically, but their pride have deceived them. They look to hold Jacob down. They look to destroy Jacob. But the Most High God of the Bible they no longer believe in, has another plan for this earth, another order for God's people. Read.
Verse 5. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough?
So that's another thing that you can find out about Esau. He may come under the guise of philanthropy or the guise of helping to make clean water and give clean medicines. But really, it's about stealing the ground right from under the people they're helping. Read.
If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough?
Come on.
If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes?
Come on.
How are the things of Esau searched out?
How can you figure out the true plans of Esau? How can you figure out Edom's agenda? Now, brothers and sisters, you understand why they try to get you out of the book? Or try to shame you into believing that you're wrong by believing in it? Because without the book, you cannot identify them. See? And their true intentions for the world. So that's why it says in the book of Obadiah, how are the things of Esau searched out or sorted up? Read. You need the Bible. You need the Bible so that you can be in the world, but not of it. Well, you can operate with Esau without him tainting you. Because why? You now have standards, moral standards, a code with your God, laws. So now you have to interact with the world, but now their political system and others cannot taint or influence you. First and foremost, I don't trust your politics. There should be no such thing as politicians politicking in church. That's a compromise. The Sanhedrin had no place amongst Christ and the direction concerning his kingdom. Read.
Verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee.
Because now all the nations who drunk of the wine of her fornication have begun to see that they've been double-crossed too. Read.
And prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him.
There's no negotiating with them. Esau has a singular plan and is willing to deceive, lie, and do whatever he can to accomplish it. The Bible makes it clear. The best thing to do is follow our God and get out of Esau's way. Because there's no change in him. There's no negotiating, because everything you go to him with, he's going to look out. He's only going to help you if it gives him a political advantage over you. That's it. He don't care about your cause. The only way he'll deal with your cause if he can see how he can advance his plan quicker, using you. See? Come on.
Verse 8. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom?
There you go.
And understanding out of the mount of Esau?
Come on.
And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that everyone of the mount of Esau
the top of Esau, those that are planning things against us from a political vantage point. That's why it says the mount of Esau, read,
may be cut off by slaughter.
Eventually, Christ will war with them upon his return. Every eye shall see when their space junk begin to fall to this earth like meteorites. You're going to know Christ is on his way. Come on.
Verse number 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob.
Because you continually to seek violence against your brother who have no idea that he's under attack. Because of this, Esau,
shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
And thou shalt be cut off forever. What does that mean? No more rulership. No more property. Read.
Verse 11. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast one of them.
Come on.
But thou shouldest not have looked in the day of thy brother, in the day that he became a stranger.
And when we became a stranger in this land, in America, they could have told us we were Israelites. Nah. They could have helped us. They could have easily used that Bible to say, right now you're temporarily under our rule. We will rule for a time, but in order for you to sustain and one day receive a kingdom promise, you need to follow the laws as God's people. You're the children of Israel in captivity according to the Bible's prophecies. They could have told us that. Now, how do you know they could have told us that, folks? Every other nation that had us, that we were under, allowed us to practice as Israelites. Even the Roman Empire. They could have easily, we had to do all this to find out at the very end of the world being destroyed, that we were the people. Every other empire, it was understood that we were Israelites until this Babylon, this confusion fell upon us. Come on.
Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress.
Yep.
Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people.
You should not have went into Israel. See? See, hey, it's red right here. You were not supposed to go back into the land because the Messiah was prophesied to bring the people back into the land after a desolation, after the war. Come on.
Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity.
Come on.
Nor laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity.
Stole things from us. Even when we came out of Egypt, you had Amalek with his coward behind, coming from behind, killing the elderly, women, and children, afraid to face the men that was at the front of the caravans. And this is how Esau operates. I remember years ago at the Passover, we had the Passover here in Atlanta, or it was Atlanta, right? Yeah, Atlanta, in Georgia. It was either the Georgia one or the one we had in the Carolinas. I think it was the Georgia one. It was the Carolina ones, one of them, where a video was put up weeks later of the apologetics questioning sisters in our church. We didn't even know they were there or existed. That so-called vocab Malone devil who tried to originally came inconspicuous at first, as if he just wanted to understand what we were dealing with when he first came on the scene. And then we seen a video where this guy is questioning sisters with all the brothers there, with all the leaders there, didn't even ask to speak to a leader of the church. Went straight to a sister to try to speak to a sister and try to gainsay and debate a sister. Those are the serpents that work under Esau. Apologetics, theologians. When I seen the video, I'm like, that's deep. I didn't even know the brother showed up here. He could have easily asked for me. And I told him to slither his behind somewhere else. Why do you care about how our people are coming together? What are you doing to help our people in the inner cities? No, you're only there to keep and instill the lies that are destroying our people while Biden is pushing crack pipes and meth. You want to peddle your satanic paraphernalia called Christianity. Well, those days are over. That's how cowards operate. You don't come to speak to the men just like your father, the devil, Amalek. You want to come from behind and try to ambush the sisters. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
Verse number 14.
Yeah.
Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape, neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress.
Come on.
For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen.
The day of the Lord is near upon all the Gentile nations who have enslaved and or harmed God's people. We're woke now. We can see you. Read.
As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee.
You will reap what you sowed. Read.
Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. For as you have drunk upon my holy mountain,
as you have went into the land and claimed the land, read,
so shall all the heathen drink continually, yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been.
They shall be as though they have not been. They're still going to be on earth. But you know what? The Gentiles are going to be put in order according to God's plan for their future. The real new world order comes with Christ. Come on.
17. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions.
We shall possess their possessions. This is how they're going to be, as if they never been. All the stuff they've stolen is coming back to its rightful owners. Read.
Verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble.
For stubble.
And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau.
When it says any remaining, that's speaking of property, not people. It's speaking of the things they stole and do own in the earth. It's not speaking of people, right? When it says any remaining, it's speaking of properties, ill-gotten property they have stolen. Read.
There shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord has spoken it.
For the Most High have spoken it. Read.
And they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau.
Thank you. So when it says any, now Israel will possess the mount of Esau.
And they of the plain of the Philistines.
And the plains of the Philistines.
And they shall possess the fields of Ephraim.
We shall possess the fields of Ephraim, all of the land they're fighting over right now.
And the fields of Samaria.
Come on.
And Benjamin shall possess Gilead.
And Benjamin shall possess Gilead, the future of how the land will be dispersed upon the coming of our Savior, who's bringing the true righteous government to earth. Read.
And the captivity of the host of the children of Israel shall possess that of the Canaanites, even unto Zarephath, and the captivity of Jerusalem, which is in Zaphared, shall possess the cities of the south. And saviors shall come upon Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be the Lord's.
So in order for us to judge Esau must be what? Living. And then it goes right back to the prophecy given to our mother Rebecca. That's right. The elder shall serve the younger. Well, brothers and sisters, that concludes our weekly Sabbath. I know we've been fed leading up to the Passover next weekend. Stay in prayer. Stay instant in prayer, brothers and sisters. Stay prayed up, sin not. We're almost home. Don't fear the devices of Esau. Understand it was our God who made him. Stand under God's hedge through Christ's blood that was shed, that's right, on the crucifix for the sins of our nation. Accept Christ's sacrifice. Be baptized to receive the gift of the Holy Spirit, to stand with Israel once again, God's people, once this is all done, in Zion. I'll see you all tomorrow at our Hebrew and Bible Academy. The love-hate relationship between man and woman. How can the Most High bring us together? Hey, we'll talk about that tomorrow. If this interests you, go to historytimes.org. If not, it's still okay. We'll see you next week at the Passover. Stay prayed up, sin not. Thank you for coming, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
We will soon see Zion. Oh, yeah. What's that word my son used? Oh, yeah. The Academy lesson tomorrow is going to be lit. All right.
To Zion.
Bless you.
I was lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard the sound. You hear the sound. Please give me the strength to stand today. With my eyes towards the east, show me the way. Lord God, my path, show me the way to Zion. I opened up the book and see that the apple of your eye included me, and through the tribulation